Okay, everyone, we're going to discuss today the optimal diet for golfers. So, we're going to put in some information into the client group. Happy to share this document for you as well, just to summarize things. But we're going to go over a couple of resources which you can find as well. And this is given, I guess, some research from people that are studying in this field. Obviously, I'm a physio, but from particular resources, I'm happy to share information from dietitians, from Sports Dietitian Australia, and also this medical journal here. So let's go over some things to consider before we dive deep into it. So when we're looking at the diet for golf and also your hydration strategies, you need to consider firstly the temperature. Is it hot? Is it cold? That's going to affect a lot about how you go about your round. Then you need to consider how many calories am I burning. If you've got a weight loss goal, obviously you need to consider this as part of your daily energy expenditure. So if you're in a cart, obviously you're going to burn less calories. If you're walking somewhere with super hilly hills, then you need to obviously account for that. Then we're going to break it up into pre-round, during round, hydration, post-game, and then we've got some considerations here. So like I mentioned, a lot of these things have been pulled from this fact sheet here. And again, I'm happy to share this as well so you can have a flick through for yourself. But let's talk about pre-round to start off with. So before the round starts, we want carbohydrates and obviously a good mix of fats and proteins if possible. But before we play, we need to make sure our blood sugar level is at a point where we're going to keep concentration high. If you find before the round you're super tired, you're hungry, this is going to affect your concentration to some level. So we need to make sure that we're going to be well satiated before we play. So I've got some examples here. So bananas, sandwiches, and oats are a great idea. Good mix of proteins, fats, and fiber is also great, like I mentioned. So things such as nuts here as well, peanut butter, things of that nature. During the rounds, we've talked about the study recently that was published in Japan. So roughly 40 to 45 grams of carbs per hour. They mentioned 44 in their study. But trying to get in a consistent flow of food is probably the key thing to consider here. Again, this is going to keep us alert and keep on the ball when it comes to our golf. And obviously every shot counts. One bad shot can turn into penalty strokes. So this is going to massively affect your game if you're low in concentration. Next, we're going to talk about hydration here. So this seems like a lot for most people. So the sports dietitian guidelines typically recommend 0.6 to 1 litre of water per hour. And again, you need to consider where you're playing. I play in Brisbane, in Queensland, and it is hot in the summer. You almost cannot drink enough water because you're constantly sweating, especially if you're playing in the middle of the day. It's really, really hard to stay hydrated, so you need to be considering this at all times. It's obviously annoying to go to the bathroom, but a good rule of thumb is if your urine colour is green or yellow, you're dehydrated. If it's clear, you're more hydrated. So you want to make sure that you are staying on top of your fluids throughout the round. Also, this is a really good thing to consider as well. Before your round, weighing yourself, and after your round, weighing yourself. If you find that you've lost 500 grams, a kilo, 2 kilos more, then you need to replace that. So what they've mentioned here is if you've lost a kilo in fluids or a litre in fluids, you need to hydrate back 1.5 of that. If you've lost 2 kilos, you're going to take 4 litres of fluid back. And this is to basically make sure that the body is getting recovered. Water is super important for just general body function, so making sure that you're doing that is super important. Obviously, we want to make sure we're replacing our salts as well. When we're sweating, we're losing sodium, potassium, a lot of other ions around the body. So using an electrolyte supplement or a gel is a really good way of doing that. Also, mineral salts is a great way of doing that have a number of different ingredients in there. Just water isn't enough because our muscles require salts to contract efficiently. So that's really important. Post game. So after the game, we want, protein, 40 to 50 grams of protein within the first hour for muscle repair. mix of carbs, and we want these to be typically high GI. So GI means glycemic index. If it's a high GI food, it means it's really easy to absorb. So when you're thinking about high GI, you're thinking about sugars like a chocolate bar, packet of snakes, like lolly snakes, something of that nature. When you're talking about low GI, that's carbs, bananas, that sort of thing. So pre-game and during your game, you want the slow burning carbs, so your low GI. After the game, we want to fuel up as quick as possible. So when we're doing that, we need to consider high GI. So that's important to know. So after a game, a nice meal might be a protein source with white rice. So that's something you can try and, again, consider in your own diet. Obviously, if you're vegan, if you're keto, it's going to change. But this is what typically the sports journals and the research recommends. So let's say white rice with protein source. Even you could get away with tofu, chicken, meat, etc. Or otherwise, that's where supplements come in handy. Obviously, like getting a protein shake in with milk or something of that nature is a really easy way to refuel, and that's what I typically do straight after my round. So some other considerations here for your diet. So 1 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight if you want to increase your muscle size and improve recovery. There's a decent amount of research to suggest that this is a good level to aim for. Some people say slightly less, some people say slightly more, but this is around about that mid-range. So I weigh 90 kilos. I try and get 180 grams of protein per day. Then also we need to consider fats. Fats have been demonized in the past, though we want to make sure that we're getting enough fat to keep healthy body functions. And if I go to this article here, we'll go to the fat section. So as you can see, it's very important for just general hormonal function. So I've almost copied that word for word, and I didn't even mean to, but there you go. They've been demonized in the past. And when we're thinking about fats, we don't want the polyunsaturated fats, we want the good fats. So when we're looking at this, we're talking about omega-3s, omega-6. This is commonly found in fish, such as salmon, and other ingredients such as nuts, avocados, eggs. So all that good sort of fat. This is going to keep you fuller for longer and just help with hormonal regulation as well. It's going to help, like I said, hormonal regulation, protect vital organs, and it's going to be important when we're doing low intensity exercise, such as our walking on the course. Also, from our recent discussion, we discussed caffeine. So 2 milligrams of caffeine if you tolerate it well, because some people don't. I don't tolerate caffeine well when I'm playing golf. I like it for when I'm working, when I'm studying, etc. But when you're on the course, it's going to be something for you that you need to test. So be sure that caffeine is going to be suitable for you. So these are the general ideas. Pre-round, get in a good mix of banana, or a good mix of carbs, fats, proteins if possible, in the form of these foods. During round, pretty similar. You can add in a gel there if needed. Same with the hydration, making sure you're getting electrolytes in, gels, mineral salts, post-game. Mix of carbs, which are high GI, and protein. Try and get that in within the hour. There's something called a protein synthesis window. So typically our body will repair better within that first hour because our body is basically hungry for these sources. Like we mentioned, there is some other things to consider as well. So in terms of these resources, I'll pop these in the group for you to have a look at. I think they are a great read. And if there's any questions, let me know within the private training group. But I hope that answers some more questions about diet and things to consider when you're playing. But I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you really soon.